4 Japanese inline-4 Supernakeds, each with a very different approach. The MT-10 brings its unique cross-blade crank. The Z1100 now packs the biggest engine here. The GSX-S aims for balance, and the Hornet goes all in on aggressive pricing. When it comes to horsepower, the MT comes out on top with 165 horses at the crank. Suzuki takes second place, the Hornet is right behind it, and the Z ends up at the bottom, especially after this year's update that trimmed its power output. But torque is where the Z really shines. It makes the most torque of the group, followed by the MT, then the Suzuki, with the Hornet coming in last. For 2026, Kawasaki has tuned the Z for stronger low-to mid-range punch, with peak power arriving at much lower RPM. That means you don't need to rev it as hard to tap into the power band, which honestly makes a lot more sense for a street bike like this. On the scales, the Hornet is the lightest. The MT is just 1 kilo heavier. The Suzuki adds another 2 kilograms, and the Z is the heaviest at 221 kilograms. So when it comes to power-to-weight ratio, the MT clearly wins this round. The Suzuki comes in second, very close to the Hornet, while the Z once again sits at the bottom. They're all powered by inline-4 engines. But Yamaha takes a different approach, using a cross-plane crank that gives it an uneven firing order, designed to reduce vibration or that abrupt yanking effect from piston inertia that you get with a flat plane crank. The result is smoother, more linear torque delivery that almost mimics a V4, helping improve rear-wheel grip. And as a bonus, you also get that throaty V4-like sound. In terms of displacement, they're all leader bikes except for the Z1100, which is about 100cc larger. It's also the only one here with an engine derived from a sport tourer rather than a full-on superbike. The Suzuki runs the highest compression ratio, the Hornet has the lowest, and for the valve train, they all stick with a conventional DOHC setup, including the gsx-s, which doesn't get the variable valve timing found on the GSX-R1000R. Moving on to electronics, the budget Hornet clearly sits at the bottom here. There's no IMU, so you only get basic ABS. It does have ride-by-wire, standard traction control, riding modes, and engine brake control, but wheelie and slide control are tied into the traction control and can't be adjusted independently. Cruise control and a quick shifter are optional, not standard. The upside is that you still get a TFT display with smartphone connectivity. Next up is the GSX-S, and it's not that far ahead of the Hornet. The main upgrade is that the quick shifter comes as standard, but you still miss out on things like engine brake control and multimedia features that the Hornet actually has. In second place is the Z, which really steps things up. It gets an IMU, unlocking cornering ABS and lean-sensitive traction control. You also get ride-by-wire and riding modes, but wheelie and slide control are still tied to traction control and can't be adjusted independently. There's no engine brake control either, but cruise control and a quick shifter do come standard, along with a TFT display and multimedia connectivity. And then the winner goes to the MT. It pretty much throws everything at you, cornering ABS, IMU, ride-by-wire, lean-sensitive traction control, riding modes, adjustable wheelie, slide, and engine brake control, plus cruise control and a quick shifter as standard. You also get a TFT display. The only thing missing here is smartphone connectivity. They're all built around aluminum perimeter frames, except for the Hornet, which still uses a steel frame, but honestly, it doesn't hold it back at all. It's still one of the lightest bikes in the class. Up front, the Hornet and the Z run fully adjustable Showa forks, while the MT and the Suzuki get fully adjustable upside-down KYB units. Out back, the MT stands out as the only one with a fully adjustable rear shock. The rest only give you preload and rebound. And for braking, they all come with dual 4-piston calipers up front, Nissan on the Hornet, Brembo on the Suzuki, Kawasaki branded calipers on the Z, and Advix on the MT. Tire sizes are pretty similar across all 4 bikes, except for the Hornet, which runs a slightly slimmer rear tire. Seat heights are also close across the board, with the MT sitting a bit taller than the rest, but when it comes to wheelbase, it's actually the most compact of the group. Suzuki stands out in terms of fuel capacity, with a tank that's about 2 liters larger than the others. And when it comes to fuel consumption, even though the Z has the biggest engine here, it actually delivers the best fuel economy of the 4, mainly thanks to its lower revving tune. Price-wise, the Hornet easily undercuts the rest. With simpler electronics and a steel frame, it's priced much lower than the others, beating both the Z and the GSX-S by around $2,000. At the other end of the spectrum is the MT. All that state-of-the-art electronics, more adjustable suspension, and its unique cross-plane inline 4. The most powerful here come at a cost, topping the list at around 14,310 pounds, and making it the most expensive bike here. So, which one should you actually go for? If you want the most sophisticated, unique, and outright powerful option here, and money isn't really an issue, then the MT is the one to get. It has the highest horsepower, the best power-to-weight ratio, and that cross-plane crank gives it smooth, tractable torque and throaty V4 sound. You also get the most complete and adjustable electronics package and the best rear suspension of the bunch. The downside? All of that comes at a noticeably higher price, and the styling definitely isn't for everyone. If you're more focused on street riding, which is what these naked bikes are really built for, then the Z makes a lot of sense. It might have the lowest horsepower on paper, but that's because Kawasaki tuned it for a much fatter low to mid-range. You get strong punch where it actually matters, without having to rev the engine hard all the time. Its electronics are solid, not as advanced as the MT, but clearly better than the Suzuki and the Hornet. If you're on a tighter budget and don't really care about fancy electronics or an aluminum frame, the Hornet is easily the value pick. It still offers decent power and relatively low weight. The electronics aren't sophisticated, but the basics are covered, and for the price, it's honestly hard to complain. Then there's the GSX-S. It used to be the go-to value Supernaked, but that was before the Hornet arrived. Now, it works more as an alternative to the Hornet, offering a more classic superbike feel and power delivery, while the Hornet feels more refined. You do get an aluminum frame instead of steel, and Brembo brakes instead of Nissan, but overall performance is very similar. In the end, it really comes down to which brand you personally prefer. So, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.